Y'all, this video is going to be about my creative side, the side of me that is a part that I need to share more often, the part of me that most people that just meet me don't know about. And I've got this shirt on. This is the shirt that I've always worn when I'm doing projects through college, through high school. So that's kind of what reminded me to make sure that I put that foot forward. And I'm going to put some music right now. I forget, I got to put music with this. So I'm going to try to kind of go over just my portfolio, I guess, my resume, but not, putting a lot of the different works out there and explaining to you how I am who I am and where the creative side of me comes from. And I put in a Christmas video, and I think this is true for a lot of people, maybe. But the imagination, I think comes from my parents, my mom and my dad reading to me, especially my mom. She'd always read books to us when we were little, so that kind of gets the imagination flowing and flying. And I think, I have my parents and my mother especially to thank for that. And it's extremely valuable for myself. And it's funny when I talk about, like, when I first started drawing and stuff, I have the first sketches that I remember. This is funny. I have this kind of a obsession with Gremlins, the movie Gremlins, and it's kind of an oddball thing. But even going back, I've later found that before I remember I knew how to draw, I was drawing pictures that says like Chad playing with Gizmo, and stuff like that. And I don't remember seeing the movie. But that's kind of, so there's like this thread of Gremlins, the Gremlins and the Machine and the Troublemakers and the Mogwais, the transformation and the metamorphosis and stuff. I think it's all relevant in the future, and now. But so I do remember drawing sketches, just basic sketches and stuff. And I remember seeing sketches that my brother and my dad did of a mosquito. My brother did scuba diving and a really cool drawing later that really inspired me, and I got to make sure I put that out there too. On an emotional level is one that I recall my brother, he had two different versions of it, and it was like a demon like in the spotlight, going like this. He was on his knees and he's going like yelling up into the spotlight. And when I first saw that, it was really cool because it introduced like this element of emotion that I've never really seen before. And I think at a young age to see that, like you look at that and you're like, wow, this is like a monster and a demon, but he's wise, he's got a lot of emotion. Is this a demon or is this just, a person who's gone through a lot of struggle and so that's very, very relevant for me now, that our perception of the monsters and the demons inside of us is just the human side of people, and the side of us that is threads through everybody, screaming out for for something better, for some light to come save us, help us, and it gets into the spirituality thing is very important in my life too. But that goes to a broad definition of spirituality too. But the basic understanding of who we are, and the need for knowledge and the need to be curious of where our roots come from and what the unknown has for us. So, so continuing, I guess. I guess this put me apart as being a little bit weird. I remember when, Disney movies come out, going back, I would, like The Little Mermaid or The Simpsons. I remember when The Simpsons came out, I was drawing like these, I would put pieces of paper together and then draw like life-size characters of these things. Like I would take pieces of paper here, I'd staple it or tape it and do like life-size characters and then cut them out and then color them and stuff. So I have a bunch of those from like Gremlins, The Simpsons, The Little Mermaid, of course, that was one of my favorites. And so that was kind of weird. And then well, not weird, but then I would kind of with gremlins, I would put them all over my room, so it looked like I had gremlins all over the room, and things like that. And so that's just who I am. But that's where like the beginning of nurturing the creativity kind of came to fruition, I guess. It's kind of cool. My friends always thought it was crazy. They're like, it's cool, it's cool, but it's kind of different. But I think what it came down to is like trying to work the imagination out into the real world, and manifesting like things in the imagination into the real world, and that gets really important nowadays, and really important characters. And then Bob Ross was around the same time too, writing stories. I remember writing stories like different detective things, watching Star Trek. I remember always watching Star Trek Next Generation and drawing pictures for stories and kind of moving along from there, kind of taking different ideas and putting them together in stories, and then just writing stories. The day Dreamland took over New York, that was like the first one that I did, and then I did a series of 9 for that. It was about like this gateway where the imagination, or the doors of the imagination open, and then we go into that, and it's just kind of like another version of Alice in Wonderland, where people go, there's a doorway, and it's very similar to that. So the story writing and things, was a huge part of it too. And I'm trying to write a huge story right now that is very, very significant on so many levels, especially in my real life. And using the imagination to tell a story that is very difficult, especially when you feel somewhat enclosed or somewhat limited as to how I tell the story, because I want to make sure it's told right and the best information gets out there. But the story I'm writing now is very sexy. It's very cool. It has to do with DJs, the FBI, extraterrestrial, government conspiracy, super, so all that kind of stuff. But it kind of like the connotation of it and stuff is a really cool love story amongst gay culture. That doesn't rarely gets told, and that can be, it gets into a lot of things about fear and what people actually fear of what the imagination has in store for us. And then going back to, okay, so Bob Ross, I never had the paint brushes. So what I would do, I would just draw with, I think it was chalk or drawing, just pencil drawings and stuff. I would do that. And this is completely random, but it just reminded me, because we had this big TV that sits on the ground too. But I remember this is completely random, but the Encyclopedia Britannica commercials that they would have, they had this one, and because this kind of sparks like the extraterrestrial part. I love Steven Spielberg, but I remember it was like the paranormal Encyclopedia Britannica. It was kind of a rare commercial, and then when a sketch drawing of the Greys came on, for the first time in my life, I was just like, like it scared the bejesus out of me. And I went running to my mom like, Mom. I don't know why that picture scared me so much. I've never been abducted. But later in life, this becomes relevant, because what happened was I kind of got this obsession myself with extraterrestrial, and I ended up starting to love like the idea of like ETs and extraterrestrials. So it kind of evolved from that. But it's just interesting. Like the first sign of fear that I had was of the Greys and stuff. But then I learned how to appreciate and be more curious about extraterrestrials. So that's important too when I'm talking about the story here in the future. So moving forward, I loved writing stories too. I loved creating scripts for movies. I wrote a script for Gremlins 3 and sent it in to Steven Spielberg and got this picture. I gotta show this picture every time. Because it's extremely important for me because it means a lot. You know, you never expect. It was a silly little Gremlins 3 story, crappy story when I look at it now, but I think a good prequel that goes back to World War II would be, you know, The Legend of Gremlins. But so I got this back from him that says best wishes, Steven Spielberg. And like the authenticity of this, I'm really curious as to authenticity because the sheen and everything is it looks like the marker was running out and stuff. It could have just been done by a machine or a secretary or something, but this is extremely cool, I thought, and I carry it with me obviously because I have these coffee stains on it. You know, I brought it with me through high school and college, so I spilled coffee. So I think even Spielberg would appreciate. It's not that I didn't take care of this autograph picture. I took this with me everywhere, and it shows that you know, the creative artists, you know, the sloppy artist, I guess, you know, but that's the workers space, I guess, and so and then there's this movie that I was writing, was called Toy Attack. Originally, that was like my motivation for doing movies was, and later I turned it, you know, I got all sophisticated. I called it The Souls of the Inanimate, because what it was like kids finding treasure out in the woods, and then when they found the treasure and they opened it, it started to make toys come to life. And it was like the toys come to life, and it's a big battle between toys and people, kind of like Gremlins, but toys. But I think I could rewrite that script someday and make it look cool, where it's like good toys versus bad toys. I don't know, but so there's that part of it. The movie, the writing, and I'm kind of rekindling the writing part right now. So, and then moving forward, you know, I started doing acrylic and oils kind of around the same time. And you'll see here, like, some of these paintings, like, these were the first one. Looking back, like, the first oil painting that I did was highly detailed. And, like, I'm actually, look back and I'm impressed. Like, that was, even for myself, I think it was highly detailed and a really, really good painting for my first painting. And then I went to acrylic. I didn't have canvas. I didn't even know about canvas at the time. So what we had was a wallboard, heavy ass wallboard. And I would just cut out huge pieces of wallboard and then paint acrylic on that. And then when you're done, you're like carrying it like this beast. So I did a bunch of those. And the oil paintings and things too, that's kind of where, the first one, it was kind of, there's the jungle, and then there was another one, I don't know if I have a picture of it, but it was like Egyptian ruins outside of a city that were kind of far away from the city by the river, where they had like this arena and this battlegrounds and everything. And this gets into a lot of really cool, interesting things. And let me see here. So, and then it came to the part where it was doing the sculpture and the clay, the clay sculptures and the paper mache. I was still obsessed with Gremlins, so I decided, well, I love Gremlins, I love Mogwais. Well, damn it, I'm gonna start making them, and then I started producing them. Eventually I made them. I had fur, you know, I bought fur from Walmart, and so actually they had really cool faux fur. And you'll see here's one that was Mohawk. Turned out really good, I think. I think it's like you know, I could sell it on eBay or something, but right now I think it's been hijacked by one of the movie people at the movie theater. He took it, and but that happened. But then I did this other one, the Gremlin, that's actually in a movie theater. That it makes sense to have a Gremlin in the projection booth. And then so that kind of gets into my exploration, growing up, you know, in high school and everything, you know, you kind of explore and experiment with different things, of course, you know, and I don't know if I have pictures of this, but you guys, friends of mine would know, like, I had two closets in my room, and one of them was a walk-in closet, and I decided to like build a set inside of both of my closets, and my walk-in closet where all my clothes were was a freaking jungle. I painted like the entire mural of the jungle on the back of the walls, with trees and vines and rocks. And then what I did was, from the painting, I started to build the rocks coming out from the painting, so it became three dimensional. And then I built two trees like inside of the freaking closet. Like one was a palm tree, so then the leaves were above you, and then I painted like the leaves of the other tree on the ceiling, and then put like fake leaves below that. So it created this really cool three-dimensional environment. And I had vines that would go across and everything. And the carpet was green carpet, like golfing carpet. So I kind of gave it that element, that 3D element of surprise. Especially when friends would come over, we would watch movies and enjoy life, and you just open up that closet door and you're like, what? You have a freaking jungle in your closet, dude. And I'm just like, and the other one was where I had all the supplies and everything for my art, and it, I had all the supplies, but then it was like the square shaped, and I did like these pillars, kind of like that, like arch pillars, four of them, and then in the middle was a circle where it was stars, and then I cut a hole out so the stars were sparkling, like the lights came through the ceiling. And then, those push button, those tap lights, I had that, and I made it a moon, so you could like tap the moon on in there, and it had like this Egyptian feel with hieroglyphics and everything, and then so I had a jungle in my closet, and then I had a freaking like Egyptian like facade. I don't know what you want to call it, but it was really cool, I thought. So then Toscano magazine, that was a big inspiration for me, because that's where, and I was doing a lot of the work with clay and things. I'll make this a two-part series because I don't think I can make these longer than 20 minutes without adding something. I'm not sure. I'll just keep going and just so this is just kind of me giving the runaround of the skills and the struggle of me looking at my portfolio and everything, and seeing like, okay, Chad, I honestly know people who don't know me, and then they see my talents, the reaction I always get from people is like, you did that, Chad, like you did that, or they'll be like, what? And that's usually the reaction, because I'm the shy guy, and then I'll be like, wow. I'll just show it to them, and they'll be like, what? And I'll be like, yeah. But I'm humble about it, and I don't brag. And I think maybe it's time for me to start, it's time for me to start putting that foot forward, having that confidence, putting forward, being like, yes, I have skill, I have assets, I have, especially when it comes to the element of healing, and the elements of healing, art and music healing, myself and others, and bringing it into something that we all understand that is necessary in this world, because this world is this, we need more of that, and that's, if we start investing into things like that, then I think we'll be in a better place. And then music, music heals all, music, when we're alone and isolated, or when we're in groups, or when we're in the car, or when we're traveling, we listen to that music, and the music sings the songs of our souls that we can't express sometimes. And, how many times have we listened to music and be like, they get me, like they're speaking, this is my song, this is speaking my soul. So that's important. And especially this movie I'm writing too is about how the DJ works with, on a large scale, bridging the gaps with music in like a really creative, interesting and unique way. But by producing this movie too, it opens those doorways for people to build bridges in the creative and professional world as well. And that's what's truly important, because I know my need in life is having that bridge gapped from people like myself who struggle, who are a little disorganized, but we got skill. Like, we got skill. I've met other people, and they're just like, their skills and drawings are just like, holy shit, dude! Like, you have to get a career out of this. You have to, and I understand that, because, you know, the skill is phenomenal. I've seen different, artists inspire artists, but it's time for those artists to come together and say, okay, guys, we are those absent-minded professors, and we got a lot of skill, and we don't quite work mesh with the professional world, and but that's the wrong way to say it. I just know that the need to have people like myself who are distracted, they're a little disoriented, a way for us to exercise those skills of ourselves, that is hard to implement in the professional world, on a professional level, and then having that build, having those applications to help us actually move forward, and come together and kind of cluster ourselves, like just saying, I'm an artist too. Are you a painter? Are you a sculptor? Oh, I'm one of those things too. And then you kind of start clustering those people together, so you figure your assets, and even, if you're one of those people like, man, I would really like to do a movie, just to do a movie, and have that product, and see how it comes out and turns out. But I don't know many people that know, like, videography, video editing, or stuff like that. So you turn on this application, and then bam, it just pops up. It's kind of like dating apps, but like on the creative side, where you're just like, I need a director, producer, actors, and then it just opens up. Pop, those people are right around you, and then you can contact them like, hey, I got this idea for a script. Can you help me write it? Great. Now we need somebody with a camera, and then we need some actors, and then this is how people kind of group together, and that's how this world gets moving in the creative world, I think. And it would make it easier, because I see a need, because I know the need, because I know the struggle. The struggle is real with people in the creative world, and that goes with music too. If you're a musician and you want to be in band, if you're a drummer and you have no band, you just open this thing up, and it's like, well, we need a bassist, a guitarist, a keyboardist, a singer. Let's find those people out there, and and this gets into a lot of things too with the story I'm writing, as to, well, people will see this and be like, Chad, that's a great idea. I like where you're going with this. Yes, I have a lot of great ideas, and you have to question, too, looking at my characters, with so many ideas, is that a liability? And why would that be, or is that a asset that is being capitalized or exploited by anybody else? And I just gotta throw that out there too, because there's a lot of crooks and cons out there. But this is just for my reassurance too. Population Go is the application, and it's just a executable application where you turn it on, and no matter what your skills are, and even in the professional world too, like if you want to build a business, you got to get a business license, you got to get, you don't want to open a restaurant, you want to open a nightclub. This is a way where you turn on the application and you figure out, bam, there's the accountant, there's the boss man, there's the guy that go-getter, the guy that gets things done. There's a person that's going to keep me in check. There's the creative sectors, and and here's the spaces, maybe like a part of the application that helps show you where empty spaces are around the area that could be like a potential office or a venue or what have you. So and then of course, special effects is something that I loved, and it got me energized, and I went to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh, and I went there for special effects, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I loved doing the makeup. I love the animatronics part of it, the character design and the creature design. I love creature design, and I love plant design. Plant design is so cool. Like Avatar was, plants in that I just love, of course, but the character design and plant design, and developing those characters through, character sketches and everything is really cool. I love background backdrops and things like that too. Um, so I went to, and here's the thing, guys, is my degree is kind of split. So this is why it's somewhat hard for me to feel like I have the full experience because um, my degree was in special effects, but towards the end or the middle of it, they have this other offering that was entertainment design path, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. I've taken these classes already. Can I take some of those classes? So it kind of shifted over to entertainment design. And then by the time I graduated, I got all the credits for sort of both of them, but I didn't get quite all the classes that were really cool. So it's kind of like a split, kind of a double degree, but not quite fully engulfed in the craft or whatever. So it kind of gets my thesis. I love my thesis. It was basically designing characters in an atmosphere for 5 different nightclubs with 5 different themes, 5 different elements, and 5 different atmospheres, like lounge, the the rock, the rock alternative goth, the the lounge hookah bar, chill music, the hip hop, the element of ice and water, um, the Mayan ruins, I think, was another one where that was like the nightclub, where there's fire and there's the Mayan ruins and everything inside of the nightclub. Um, I can't remember that all of them. Oh, and then the Egyptian one where you walk in and it's like the caverns. You walk into the place and it's like caverns, but then you see the stars and everything above you. And there's kind of like ancient ruins. It looks like you feel like you're Indiana Jones when you go into the nightclub, and they play psytrance and dance music and everything like that. So it just becomes this immersed experience into the imagination. So that's kind of what my career path has taken me to. There's not a lot like that in this country, per se, as far as like accentuating the themes and the atmosphere. You know, it would be kind of strange if that just started popping up and you know anyway, that goes into the other story where people um anyway that's not important. So what's important is exercising the imagination, and so then when I came back from Pittsburgh, it was hard to find a career. Everybody always said, "Oh, move out to California, move out to California." Yeah, the art institute, I'll be honest, they really actually suck. They promised you, there's like a 90, the percentage of you having a career before you leave there. They offer that. They kind of got you excited about that. But then when you're going through the process and going through school, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to go to the career counselor and say, what have you got? And I had special effects and entertainment design, and they're like, okay, well, how about a job? They would give me random jobs, like, and that's was like their best leads, is like, putting engravings on gravestones. I'm like, what? That has nothing to do with and like the leads and everything they gave us. They'd always be like, California, New York. It depends, but California is where you want to go, but they had no leads for California. They had no leads for like specifically different studios or different even small time like movie companies, or they had nothing like that. Like they didn't even tell. I think that was a fashion faux pas on their part. Like at least like having that kind of information available to get you started. I know we all have to do our own research and everything, but I was a little bitter about that because I felt like they didn't pull through even to the slightest. Like a good nudge. They didn't even give you like a good nudge, but that's okay. So because we got to do things on our own sometimes, and that's what I'm learning. And so I stuck around Pittsburgh for a while too. After that, a few years, it got kind of crazy. So I ended up. It was just cool. Like the place I worked shut down at the same time that my lease was up, and my family was kind of coming through the area from vacation to go back down. So then it was kind of like they kind of did a sweep through, and we moved me back down here. And it was finding things. I did a little bit of theater work, backdrops for the movie Misery, I did a tree with a beehive in it, in the backdrop, and then I did this bottle for the play The Witches. The Jim Henson's The Witches, if you remember, with the mice, and there's a big Formula 89 or whatever bottle. When they shrink down to mice, they have this giant bottle that they have to carry. So then I had to do that, and that was pretty fun. And so like getting involved with that, I had a good start, and then with the theater and everything in the area, and then life kind of happens, and then I had the opportunity. I moved out of the house to where I was renovating a yoga studio, which is awesome. I got to help completely renovate that, new floors. That's another part too. Like the handyman, I'm the jack of all trades. I love construction. I did landscaping when I came back here. I love landscaping, the masonry, the brickwork, the plants. Laying out the plants and the grid, and then the architecture renovation, just completely flipping. I got the opportunity, guys, and this is so cool. For the same person that owned the yoga studio, an opportunity came up where he's like, okay, I got the second floor of this house. I will let you stay there. I will buy the materials. I was kind of part of the payment of living there, while I renovated it. And it was just the coolest opportunity to completely renovate a 3-room apartment. It was a 3-room apartment. But there was a lot of work, guys. Like the ceiling had caved in because of water damage. That was a lot to deal with. And they had old floors. They got new carpet. They put that in. But then they had like the shower that had to be enclosed. There was a shower in it was weird. There's a bathroom, and then there was another room behind it. But the shower was in the room behind it, and it was like a corner shower. It was really weird. So like if you wanted to take a shower, you had to get out of the bathroom and go into the room and take a shower. It was really weird. So I had to enclose that wall and then cut a hole through the bathroom, so it kind of stepped up into the shower. It was really strange setup, but it was cool. Like, the guy liked it, but he's like, this reminds me of like a bathhouse, and I was like, cool. Is that a good thing? I don't know, because you step up and then you step down into the shower, and it was really unique, I thought. And then I had an opportunity to put all the wood, the flooring, painting the cabinets, the kitchen, fresh paint, putting in some new electrical work. I put in some marble. When you walk up the stairs, the first entryway, putting like marble flooring on there, and tiling. And so I love that. I absolutely love that kind of stuff. So when you see like these skills and the assets, it's hard for me to pinpoint when I talk about having a career. So you can kind of see like the creative mind. It's like a tree, guys. You have the basic foundation of design and color, design, shape, form, function. But then it gets into like you go into each branch, different media. I've explored all the media. I'm naturally the curious mind leads you into like sculpture, painting, drawing, music, things like that. And that's another thing too. I've always loved creating my own music too, in music programs, and have different samples of that. And that's just part of who I am. Just kind of creating what's up here and here out there, and it's just kind of a cool path that I have, and it's just implementing it, especially now when it's necessary for me to qualify myself to be a professional. I know this video doesn't quite suffice, but I feel like I'm running out of time, and this goes into this. I feel like I'm running out of time, but that's helping me. There's no reason for me to believe that, except for strange, mysterious phenomenon that even most people don't understand. It's I guess you got to be careful who tries to draw you towards them and who tries to pull you into their little story, even though you don't want to be part of their story. And it gets into all kinds of crazy stuff. But so guys, like this is me. This is kind of like the gist of who I am. I do believe I've got a great career path in the future, and these ideas and everything. That's what sucks, is being like the innovator part, like the problem solver. I'm a huge puzzle and problem solver, puzzle solver and problem solver. Finding ways despite limited resources or whatever, kind of finding the cool way to fix it and make it cool, and implement it. And that's another really, really extremely important part of this video, because you understand why others might have been interested in a creative mind that's a problem solver in a visual form. Because when you have that constricted and conformative way of thinking, you can't solve problems, or it's hard to solve those problems because you think differently. So then it would kind of help exercise and back up some claims that's just people that aren't able to do that wanting to take credit, or kind of pretend that, I don't know, it just gets into some really silly stuff. But visually understanding, like, if you have the Picasso or the Da Vinci of the new world, and you're like, well, there's a lot of problems going on in this world. Can you do anything, on a social level or on a political level? And then you're like, well, I don't think so. But then when you realize, well, yeah, if I can visually implement these problem-solving skills into a constructive, engineered part of society, and kind of building steps and stones that build a foundation and a structure, and building bridges, it actually starts to develop into something very, very cool and very, very, very powerful and impactful. It's easy to destroy things. You just knock something over. It's easy, like you take a vase, a beautiful vase, you knock it over, but can those people that knock it over be, because they oh, it's ugly, but can they recreate it? Hell no. It takes a lot more work and a lot more effort and a lot more time to put into making that vase, and then taking the easy road out, to just knock something over and destroy it, and thinking that profiting off of that is not more profitable than all the energy and time and workmanship and teamwork it would do to develop or to create something. It's just blasphemy that we sit here in a world when we have to build something, we have to build a future, and we can't see that there's people that are purposely trying to destroy it. Why? So they can invest in rebuilding it? Why don't we just skip to rebuilding it first, and then understand that that's the way that we bring the power back to the people? All this unnecessary nonsense is absolutely ludicrous. But this is me. This is about dang, this is a 40-minute video. But this isn't me. I got to get it out there anyway. I'll go more into that there is a crazy story. But that's not what's important. What's important right now is that my entire life, my purpose is to manifest the imagination and beauty of this world into the beauty of our imaginations into the real world, and making it a functioning thing for society, a functioning blueprint of how we can implement the imagination into the real world that gets us excited and energized and moving forward, and wanting to go out and wanting to participate and wanting to be part of something in this world. And because that's how we experience life. That's how we experience being free. And when you see the benefits of the whole thing, and it can be a very beautiful thing. And you have to be pretty low to try to take advantage of that from somebody coming from the outside perspective. So yeah, that's me, guys. This is Chad. This is Chad's struggle, being the creative mind. A lot of you that know me, you've seen my work, you've seen my portfolio, and you're like, Chad, why haven't you moved forward yet? I don't understand. Get your butt moving, get out there, find those people, find those contacts, find those professionals, get involved, And, I have it and continue to, and I just kind of have setbacks, and then I have to start over, and then I have a setback and I have to start over, and, or I get distracted, and, or just different things come up that push me in a different direction. And so direction is something that I need, and that's why this application and everything. It sounds silly for an artist to come up with that idea too, but knowing that there's a need to connect on that level, and it also brings people closer together faster for better reasons. That's something that I think needs to be implemented in this world, and it could be the biggest booming business, the biggest, like, better than Facebook, better than Steve Jobs, the Microsoft, whatever. I think it has potential to be one of the biggest applications out there to help get people moving forward, and people would turn on their phone and the adventure begins. We have the characters, the simoleons, with exchange system with our skills and the mentorship and the teamwork and getting teams together. I think it's just an amazing, fabulous idea. And maybe implementing that is going to be what helps me find what my path is going to be. You kind of sample different professions within the creative world to see if that's what fits and what suits you. So having that application available for everybody in the country, I think, would be a really cool thing and a great thing. Population Go is what I call it, because Pokemon, we talk about how disconnected we are in this world, and but Pokemon Go, connected everybody instantaneously, and everybody were getting out there, moving around and meeting other Pokemon Go, but you implement that into something a little more useful, a little more productive, a little more exciting, because you're actually meeting people that have the same interests as you. Under that understanding too, you kind of zero in on, like, for myself, I'm a Nightmare Before Christmas fan. If I turned that on and, like, it matched me with other Nightmare Before Christmas fans, I would be like, wow, those are, like, it finds those unique things that, finding those common grounds. So this is me, and I'll just post this, guys. I don't know if there's any other topics I want to hit on. Yeah, the props and everything. Props, movie sets, props, backdrops. I would love, like, the thing I want to focus on too is I would love to go out there and be the person who kind of scouts the area for empty buildings or empty property, and saying, okay, these people need a workshop, they need a business, they need a restaurant. Let me go out and see what fits this, and then kind of going out and be like, well, I can see how this building can be transformed, like totally transformed into that, and then kind of bringing that into it, and then designing and the atmosphere and everything for these new places. Like, I would love to do that on a professional level, like the talent scout and the scout for these different places, and then the design work for that. So if you guys are like, well, you need to zero in, you need to know what you want to do, that's what I want to do, because it is helping people at the same time as it is, like, implementing your creative skills, and then it's creating venues and community places that bring people together and kind of gets, like, the local economy boosted and boasting of the culture that surrounds us. And that's what we have to do. We have to boast of what makes us us, and even in each state, like, different cities would just start to get, like, a different feel. They're expanding on what products they push out there, the best, or what they're known for making, and expanding on that, and then realizing, well, that's where the trading systems kind of come through. That's how we turn on the application and say, well, I want to make these things. Where do they make those things the most? And then you kind of, so that's where I'm trying to go with this, guys. And so for now, this is just this video. Yes, Steven Spielberg, the movie. That's the other thing too, is I guarantee that this movie and this script, it is amazing. Opening the door like Matrix. It's almost like opening the gateway to the dream, like the dreams and reality, by using a movie. By using a movie and marketing it in the real world, it kind of opens a door on a real level to open the doors of imagination. And I think a lot of and then working against governments in the real world, it could be, I don't know, like, it wouldn't be funny if a movie is like the biggest fear of I don't know, Wouldn't it be funny if a movie is like the key to showing us how we have to build society, rebuild society in a really cool way? I don't know. That's just, I guess that kind of gets down to it, like a know-how, like an instruction, like the Guardians. What is it? The Galaxy's Guide to uh, finally uh, build. Because we look at venues and stuff too. Like, imagine, okay, where's the cantina? Where the hell is the Star Wars cantina in the United States of America, where you can go there and you can buy a drink and just go in the cantina, listen to some jams, maybe out in the desert, in the Nevada desert, travel out to the cantina in Star Wars. Where is that, guys? And that's what I'm saying. Like, making these actual places that you would travel to. Where is Tron? Like in Las Vegas. What if Las Vegas built a place that was like the place where you ride motorcycles and you race motorcycles out in the desert, and it's like got the Tron atmosphere where you can battle, like just like Tron, like where is that kind of stuff? That's what I'm saying, guys. So that's these places, places that we can travel to because it excites the imagination. Where's the castles in the United States of America where you can go to, and where's the or the villages where you could live there for a few years and kind of get those, like creating. I think it'd be really cool to create kind of an old time village around a castle and everything, where you go, like if you're a blacksmith or a baker, or you do beading or jewelry and stuff, you kind of go to that place because that's where you have all the teachers and the mentors from that basic place. And you can live there at the same time, get the mentorship, and it's an automatic community. So then you can live there for a little while, and then learn different crafts, learn how to make a real sword or something, and then while you're living there, and then you kind of move on from there, you have the experience, and then you move to a new place. I think that's a really cool way to think about things, and we gotta start thinking about those things a little more, I think. So literally exhuming the imagination to the real world, like it's just like, man, I wish there was this, and that's what everybody says. What do you wish? No kidding. Thousands of other people wish that too. And then we have an economy that's struggling, and then we don't understand that by building these places that draws people, that actually reaccumulates and regenerates income and charity and foundations, and working on it that way is the best way, is a great way, a fantastic way to start building locally, and creating that competitive nature of, like, I live in this town. There's a town right down the road, and they're doing some stuff too. They're starting to create some stuff too. We got to do better than that. And then they have a bar, or nightclub, and then we're like, okay, we'll do a better one, not a better one. We'll do another one, so you can visit ours, or you can visit yours, and kind of have that camaraderie, but also that competitive nature too. And I think that's really important as well. So much love, guys. I'll kind of cut it down here so I can re-edit this and everything, put music and much love, guys.